obviously, we're very, very early into this project. And any kind of assessment that I make is most likely going to be incorrect at this stage. But I think the reason why I've been struggling, at least to get started with the story here, is in short that I don't have a set intention yet for the story. Now, when I talk about intentionality and writing with intentionality, it's a little bit of a interesting word. It's kind of like this woo thing. It's a little bit of that new age sort of thinking. Write with intention. It's the kind of thing you'd see like in like modern like self-help. But when I refer to writing with intention, what I'm referring to is this kind of nebulous idea of having some sort of goal beyond just the story itself. So have a goal for your writing beyond just writing the actual book. As close as I can come to explaining it, Stephen King in his book on writing had talked about that when you go to the page, you should never go to the page lightly. You can go to the page really angry, really sad, timid, what have you, but don't go to the page lightly. Don't go there without any emotion at all. And that's more or less what I'm referring to. It's not the idea of theme or having your work say something. It's the bigger idea of writing with a sense of something else alongside of it. And for this story, I don't really have that. For my book going over, the intentionality was actually pretty straightforward from the beginning. It was, hey, let's take a subgenre, take this topic that nobody in the mainstream really ever talks about. Take the subgroup that is, kind of lambasted for being very campy and being weird. In this case, pro wrestling. And let's make a story that's so good that people would not be able to believe that a story about pro wrestling could be so entertaining. That was my intentionality when I started the story. That was what carried me through a lot of it, was winning people over, being able to take somebody who has this kind of preconceived notion about what a story about pro wrestling could possibly be, and then blow their minds, have them read it and have their minds completely blown and go, oh my God, this was a fantastic in-depth, character study about people chasing their dreams. I can't believe, a story about pro wrestling could be so well done. And that sort of intentionality was great because it carried me through the whole thing. It was able to kind of push me through a lot of those harder times. I've said I don't think anybody that follows this channel was at my signings there when I last month, or yeah, we're in August now, so my signings last month. But I talked about that that the way I view my writing is I tend to view it a bit like a sleazy defense attorney, a Saul Goodman type, if you will, who's got to go before a jury that's already made up its mind. And you've got to now win them over. You got to go up and say, listen, I understand what your preconceived notions are. I understand you think my client's guilty. I know you think a book about the subject matter could never be good. But let me make my case. Start reading a few pages. Let me make my case. And I think you'll come around to my side. That was how I approached going over. That was, I think kind of the fun thing for me to do, because again, to show people up is sort of a fun thing. To win people over is really, really fun. It's not great for marketing. It's not great for ever selling books, to turn off an audience before they even pick up your book. Right. But it's kind of a fun thing. It's fun, especially when you're a smaller time guy like me. It's really, really fun because you get people that will either they'll send me a quick message on usually on my Instagram, or they'll make an Amazon review or something like that or even more often than not, they just come up to me. Like they'll just, be someone I see at the gym or someone I see in town who grabbed a copy who will say, wow, I can't believe it. I don't like the subject at all. I've never watched wrestling at all, what have you, but man, that was a good book. I really, really enjoyed it. And for me, that's been kind of the funnest thing to get out of actually getting this book done was to hear that. And so going into now this third one here, the intention is not there yet. The intention is not present yet. And so I don't think it's kicked me into gear. I guess to start, I should probably I actually start going over what this book's about a little bit more, and so I'll kind of peel back the curtain a little bit. So this book is a generational tale. It is about two brothers who are estranged as adults, who through circumstances come to live with one another for a period of a few weeks, and during their time together, they reconnect. So they reconnect, they reminisce, and the story basically flashes forward from the present tense with the brothers, and it does a flashback where you see the brothers' upbringing, you see their lives, and they're basically raised, for lack of a better term, they're basically hicks, right? They're people who live in the sticks. They're a family of very little money and very little means who, through the idea of succor, the idea of kind of giving to your kin, are able to, in that the concept of kinship, they're able to sort of survive their challenges. But as the story goes forward, there's a breakdown. And so with my story, with the intentionality of the story, I'm trying to find it has I think centered around the idea of trying to honor the family who the story is based upon. My story is fictional, but it's about at least 80% so far, 80, 85, I don't know, 90%, somewhere in there, based upon true accounts. There's not a lot that I would need to change to make this a nonfiction tale. It's simply that the family has basically desired anonymity. They don't want to be known, that I have decided to play it up a little bit as a fiction tale as opposed to a nonfiction one. And so I think for me going in here, the intentionality behind my work has been to honor this family, to kind of do right by them in a sense, to show up here and do some really good work to honor their story, to really express why I fell in love with their accounts and with their story. And it's been difficult at this stage to ingrain that. It's been difficult to kind of pull that in. I'm hoping as the story goes forward, I'll be able to get that, because I do think that's going to be what's going to carry me through most of this project over the next few years, is trying to really do right by this family, trying to really tell their tale as best I can and as close to accurately as possible, while also maintaining just that air of fiction, just that little bit of lies to kind of make it so it's not too close to home for them, but also kind of with that coming up with a really good narrative. And so, I guess to summarize all this, that has been, at least in the back of my mind as I've been going to these sessions, is the idea of finding that extra thing that's got to pull me through this tale, because just sitting there clacking words on a page is not enough. And going in with themes and ideas you want to share with the world, yeah, that's nice. That's nice, but that's never motivated me enough to get a book completely written. There's got to be that extra. There's got to be that little edge. Perhaps a better word for it is having an edge, a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, whatever that is. A little bit of, for some people, maybe it's a competitive spirit. Maybe your intentionality is just to show up. The people who said you can't do it. Maybe that's what it is for you. Maybe for other people, it's wanting to write a work that's so good that people will remember you. Maybe like myself at times, who's talked about before, the idea of wanting, being rejected so many times, getting so many rejections from agents, editors, publishers, what have you, that you want to make this next story so good they will not be able to reject you. Perhaps that is your intentionality when you write. Perhaps that's the thing that pushes you forward. But whatever it is, whatever that intentionality, whatever that chip on your shoulder is, you need to keep it. You need to really, really, really hone that in and find that thing and let it push you forward, because that is what's going to really get you there, to the next side. The intention doesn't need to be grand. It doesn't need to be some profound thing. Like I just said a minute ago, my intention for my second book was simply to win people over, to just see the look, just to imagine the look on someone's face when they pick up a book that's about something so campy and so superficial, and imagine how deep the story could actually be, how good it can be. That was enough for me. As stupid as it is, whatever, that was enough. And so you don't necessarily need to have like some grand thing, but there needs to be something there. And maybe in the beginning, maybe it needs to be grand. Maybe it does need to be something really, really good. For my book Crease, the intentionality simply was, hey, let's not waste your entire MFA money on a book that never gets out there. At least initially. I will say it changed a little bit as I was doing this Write Every Day vlog, as I was getting like the rejected, right? So from the beginning, it's actually a really good example. From the beginning, it was very much, hey, just don't waste your MFA money. Actually get a book published, get this thing published. That way you didn't waste, tens of thousands on an MFA. And then when I got that small press, right, initially reached out to me there, that was the intentionality, became very much like, oh no, get this book done so it gets published. That was it, right? Pretty direct. And then when that fell through and I had to go kind of the self-publishing route, then it became something else. It became, no, do this for the 100 people that are on your YouTube channel. Do it for the friends, family that have supported you, that want to see your work. Do it for just the local people that maybe that you see every day, who, yeah, it'd be really cool if they could see what you wrote. It'd be really, really swell if they can maybe see how good of a writer you really are. That's what it became as it evolved in the different stages of the process, as the drafts went later and later. But whatever it is, have an intentionality, have a chip on your shoulder, have something to push you beyond just, it's nice to write a book and I really want to put some words down on that page.